So I'm super excited for a lot of reasons. I did manage to secure a 30th anniversary PlayStation 5 Pro. I cannot wait to get this thing in about like 2 months. It's so long away. I'm so excited though. I can't wait. I will be doing a video on it. I'll be talking about it. I can't wait to look at it, see it, feel it. I'm not scalping it. It's for me. I love it. I'll cherish it. I'm very fortunate to get one of those. When they did all the PlayStation 5 Pro kind of state of play and all the game announcements that came out, there was one game out of all of this that really got me excited. And that was Hell Is Us. And there was a couple reasons why this game appealed to me. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it was because I miss this type of game. So, growing up, playing computer games and Nintendo games, we didn't really have the internet. I don't think the internet existed, or maybe it did in some lab, but it sure didn't exist where I grew up. We didn't have that. So to figure things out, you basically just played. You just would sit there and you just try things, like going to Zelda, the original Zelda, walking up to every goddamn bush in Zelda and lighting it on fire, and pushing it, and hitting it with your sword to see if any of the bushes revealed a hidden staircase that would lead to a treasure room, or a hidden dungeon, or a powerful item. And it got to the point that I would start writing stuff down on graph paper, where I would map out things. I would write down quest lines in games like Dragon Quest or Ultima. I would make notes for myself to kind of play the game in an intelligent way, or try to. And I had these very elaborate binders of games, and unfortunately they're all gone. I wish I had them to this day. I'm sure they were shitty little kid writing ones, you know what I'm talking about, where even though it was graph paper, it probably went up and down, and the letters were spelled weird and there were typos everywhere. But it was my way of capturing my thoughts and my experience, and it made the games feel alive in such a different way. Yes, I had the controller. Yes, I was sitting there playing with my buddies, but I had my own little cheat sheet, my own magic book of notes. Some of my other buddies did, and we'd compare and contrast. Hey, did you? And it was fun. So I miss that. We've gotten away from that. We are now in the era of, hey, the quest is right here, the Skyrim marker. You need the hidden item, which is right here. You could fast travel to it and walk in and grab it and fast travel back. And in minutes, it's over. I don't like that. I don't need every game to be this massive 10-hour opus, right? 100-hour opus of investing my whole life. But it is refreshing that there are other people out there, namely game developers, namely the one of the game we're about to talk about, that actually does appreciate that style of gameplay. So they talk about a game with no maps and no guides, and it's going to be on you to figure out basically how to play, that it'll be a creative experience that's this immersive place for you to figure everything out. And I love this line here in particular. I'm going to make it nice and big so you can all read it. It says here, in Hell Is Us, you won't have a magical map. I love that they say that. This is such a belittling thing to say. It's like when you go, oh, that's cute. Look at you with your little pencil. You're drawing a cute little picture. It's such a demeaning way to say, we're cutting out the guides. In Hell Is Us, you won't have a magical map or compass revealing all points of interest surrounding you. No markers identifying your next quest objective, and no artificial or mechanical guides to orient you. Instead, we invite you to dive directly into the game's universe, to rely on your own observation, reasoning, and intuition to progress. The environments are not there simply to decorate, they are there to communicate. Correspondingly, paying attention to what the NPCs tell you is crucial. What they tell you is actual organic information about what to do and how to do it. I'm sold on this. They call it, by the way, they call it player plattering instead of silver plattering. It's kind of a cute little thing, whatever. All right, so they did release a 15-minute gameplay video. I highly recommend you watch through it all. It's narrated by the developer of the game. Very, very passionate fellow who kind of talks to you through some of the points of the game. It's not really spoiler heavy because we don't even know what the hell's going on. But I wanted to show you this screen specifically and how cool this is. This is alpha footage. Things might change. The graphics might change. The lighting might change, whatever. But there's a couple things I wanted to show you, and I have a couple timestamps I want to jump through as to why this appeals to me so much and how I think this is going to work out in gameplay. So here we are in a discussion with this dude. You see on the left, we have investigation. On the right-hand side, we have general knowledge, and then obviously his subtitles at the bottom. The idea here is that everything you see and do, every NPC you talk to, may give you crucial information. It's kind of up to you to decipher what it means. The game is going to give you some basic talking points. So when you're working through dialogue with people, if you have something worth interest of asking them, they may be able to reflect on certain key words that open up potential dialogue choices. This was done incredibly well in the Shadowrun, the SNES port that came out, where you were trying to learn about your back past and what happened and who were you and what were you doing. You would talk to somebody and they would say a word that would be in bold. And then that bold word would become part of a keyword list. And you could ask other NPCs about that. And a lot of times they'd say, I don't know what you're talking about. But sometimes they would say, oh, you know what that means. Clearly you've done the homework to go off and investigate and talk to somebody else. I will now give you additional information about that. And that kind of stuff wasn't captured in a log or anything. You just had to write it down and remember it. But they might say something like, you might say the word like safe, like you were trying to unlock a safe. And you might learn from somebody that there was a safe. The word safe would appear in bold. You would go talk to the NPC. You would ask them about the word safe, and they would say, yes, the code is 123. It was never captured anywhere. You had to remember that. So later on in the game, if you happen to find the safe and it asked you for the code, you knew it was 123 because you wrote it down in your little book. That's what this game appears to be doing, based on the fact that I'm looking on the right-hand side, that there are already bulletized general knowledge things. You can talk to them about the Civil War. You could talk to them about Hedaya. I don't know what that is. But these terms are of importance in this world. If you hadn't talked to somebody and didn't know about that, you wouldn't be able to question this guy or discuss these points with this guy. I love that idea. That is a concept in games that has been far removed. It is far too hand-holdy on a lot of stuff now, where you even get to the point where it will automatically populate in things for you based on decision and dialogue choices you've made in the past. And it kind of breaks that immersion because you don't have to remember anything. The magical journal, the magical compass, the magical quest guide will just point you to where you need to be. And again, that works sometimes, but think of like in Skyrim, you would go to a town and what would you do? You talk to every single person you could meet. You would tell every single person, yes, I could help you. You weren't even paying attention to what they were saying. You didn't care because the game was going to do it for you. Then you'd be done with the town. You'd open up your map and you'd have 30 quest markers. You'd fast travel to the nearest point where you could find that quest, and you would follow the arrow to talk to the guy or pick up the tchotchke or kill the dude. And then you'd fast travel back because the quest marker would tell you, this is the guy that gave you the quest. You'd fast travel back to him or her, and you would say, here is the thing, done, give reward, okay, thanks, bye, and you'd go back in town, and that's what you would do over and over again. It's a formula that works. Obviously, Skyrim is one of the most popular, best-selling games of all time. So it clearly works. This idea, this concept of hand-holding works, but this game is not going in that direction. This game is instead, you're going to talk to this guy. He's going to tell you something like here, the village of Jova. Do you know where the village of Jova is located? He might say, yes, go down 3 trees and crack a right, or walk 500 paces and turn left at the second bridge. But it's not going to be written in the game. You have to remember it, which means you have to pay attention. So you're going to have to write this down. You're going to have to be cognizantly aware that this guy told you something. And if you want to come back later to this guy, well, there's probably not going to be a fast travel point for him. You're going to have to remember where he is, trudge your ass back and talk to him. And I think that is so amazingly cool. Another part I wanted to show you is a little bit of this puzzle solving piece they do here. It looks like you get some sort of scanning device to help you translate text. I think this may be like a No Man's Sky type thing where you're essentially going to be deciphering some sort of alien language or something. I'm not quite sure how that plays out. Probably tied into the keywords. But here, you're going to have to align these dials to potentially open a door. You might be able to randomly guess, but most likely the clues are very, the clues are probably not very well defined. They might be abstract, or it might say something to the effect of like, below a full moon, the castle rises or something. And it's up to you to figure out, okay, well, this one has a half moon. This one has a full moon. Oh, here's a picture of a castle. It's rising, whatever, right? It's going to be that kind of prose, almost like Elden Ring type discussion, where they're going to tell you something, but they're not going to just spell it out for you and say like, hey, the second ring has to be a moon. They might not say that. They might say something else in context that has to help you understand how to solve that. Again, I like that. It's forcing you to pay attention, to be engaged, and to kind of put it all together. And I think what they're going for here is this kind of board, essentially, that will probably help catalog some basic things for you to kind of formulate some thoughts. Obviously, the game will track the keywords for you. It looks like here they will help give you kind of key pillars of things you need to potentially do. Find your family, meet this guy, talk to this person, whatever. That will kind of help frame your discussion and kind of frame your gameplay. I don't have objection to this. I think that's kind of fair. I mean, obviously, a game that had if it was completely unknown what to do, I don't know what kind of game it would be. They obviously have to sell this to somebody, and there has to be some marketing. So my hope is that with a system like this, again, alpha footage, my hope with a system like this is that this isn't too handholdy. But the idea of the game not tracking things for you sounds like a ton of fun. And I feel like this is a game where you're not going to be able to like listen to a book or listen to a podcast or watch a movie in the background. This is going to be a game where you're going to like get invested in the world. You're going to want your headphones on. You're going to put your cell phone down. You're going to want to focus on what you're seeing, take in all of those contextual clues, the sights and the sounds and the geographical markings and the discussion points you have with everybody to give you the best chance of navigating this world. And I love that concept. I'm very, very excited for this. I know a lot of this fell off during the state of play, the PlayStation 5 Pro, the price, the 30th anniversary, the scalpers, everything. Like this announcement just kind of fell by the wayside because there are so many other things to talk about. This game isn't even coming out until sometime in 2025. So we're going to have to wait a while to even get more information on how this game is and what it looks like and how it feels. But I am very excited. I have not been this excited for this game in a long time because it's so genre breaking and it's so back to a place where it reminds me of being that little kid, being lost and confused and having to wade my way through a game. And I hope if this game performs well and it looks beautiful and it's fun to play and it's rewarding and investing, I hope this is going to be kind of like one of those forever games that you keep coming back to for a while, that you just kind of soak in the experience and you don't feel like you have to just kind of like blow through everything to play it. We'll have to wait and see ultimately. I don't know. Like I said, this is still kind of early to tell. All we have is this 15-minute gameplay footage plus a pretty in-depth blog on the PlayStation blog to kind of talk through everything. But I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. I can't wait for this game. As it stands right now, a day one purchase for me. I know it's a very, very dense gaming market, and it's going to only get worse, especially with the announcement of the Switch 2, which will probably be out before this game comes out, which could open a whole smorgasbord of going back to some of the older games like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom and maybe being able to play them at 60 frames a second. Monster Hunter's coming out next year, which is going to take up a significant portion of my time, plus all the other things we don't even know about yet. But this game stands above them all, and this is definitely my most hyped game right now. And I keep waiting to hear more on this because I think this is going to be something very special to the people who want to invest the time and the energy into making it so. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.